Hey, good evening and welcome to the first ever episode of the Drop Zone. As you can see, I'm joined by a wonderful panel. They may not be the Shield, they're more in fact the Spirit Squad, but I'll introduce them anyway. We have Craig. Craig, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate.
Excellent. Tony, good to get you on at last on the channel.
Yeah, good to be here.
How you doing, all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, fella, not too bad.
Yeah, good. Adam, how you doing?
Good, thank you, and good evening, Grapple fans. Good to be here.
And Jake, last but not least.
Hello, thank you for letting me join.
That's okay, no problem at all. So basically this channel is going to be a weekly show talking about Smackdown and Raw. We will also do watch-alongs, starting with WrestleMania. So if anybody's interested in obviously joining the channel, coming on shows, doing watch-alongs, then you're more than welcome. You just got to follow the page, drop myself a message, and yeah, you'll be on the star of the show. So yeah, let's get into it. So where do we start, Last week was quite eventful. I think we started off with an Instagram post, didn't we, from The Rock before Smackdown. I'll just get your thoughts quickly on that. I'll go to you, Adam, first. Did you watch it, first of all of it? Because it's been quoted as a long Instagram post. Yes. And what did you make of it?
So I liked it, so I saw it. There was like two versions, wasn't there? There was like a 16-minute version, a 21-minute version. I've only seen the 21 minutes. I don't know if I missed out on anything which he took in or put out or whatever. So yeah, I like this kind of heelish kind of Rock, kind of old school corporate 1998 kind of Rock. And as with all kind of good promos, there's a little bit of realism in there, he's kind of right that people wanted to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns. You're kind of right that people weren't begging to see another Cody v Roman, or some people. So yeah, and it's good and it feels realistic, and just having The Rock there as part of the bloodline, but at the same time teasing a bit of tension, teasing a bit of dissension and issues for Roman Reigns, who up until now has been, if not undisputed, kind of leader of the bloodline. He's always kind of come out on top, and you always kind of knew he would come out on top. Now there's that real, okay, it's not just going to end with him and Rock stood tall together. Something's going to happen, and I think they've played it really well.
Yeah, no, to be fair, they have. I know, Craig, I'll come to you in this one. He was mentioned about Cody's dog was included in that promo. Bit harsh on Pharaoh, to be honest. He is quite a cute dog. But yeah, what was your thoughts on The Rock's promo? It's quite down to the wire as well. It's like being, like as Adam said, it's back to the old Rock, the attitude era, the corporate Rock. Did you enjoy his promo, first of all? And
100%. I think he's very much gone back to that, saying what he wants on the mic, the way he was calling the fans everything under the sun. He just, he didn't care. It's good to see that sort of attitude era, he can just get away with what he wants to say on the mic sort of thing. But I agree that the whole tension thing with him and Roman's definitely there. I think Heyman, there was a little bit as well where, he always seems to be doing this. And Heyman had a cheeky little look, and I think that might play in the next few weeks building up to WrestleMania, I think. Yeah,
no, true. Just before we go, I just want to say a couple of hellos in the chat. We've got Gillian in, BX Gunner in North Bank, Tariq, Arsenal fans forever. There's loads of you in. G is in as well. So thank you all for your support already in the chat. It's brilliant. So yeah, we went into Smackdown, and then obviously The Rock come out with, Roman Reigns come out first, and then we had The Rock join him afterwards. Tony, what did you make of Roman's reactions when Paul Heyman was saying, we can't go anywhere yet, The Rock's just about to come out?
I think that he was a bit taken back. He wanted to just do it on his terms. He wanted to leave. He wanted to go. He wanted to get the hell out of there. And I think him being told what to do, he was like, I'm Roman Reigns. I don't get told what to do. And I think you could see his facial expressions throughout the promo as well, especially when The Rock said something and he literally was looking at him, holding onto the ropes, looking at him like that. Yeah. And there's certainly something there. You can see that it's going to blow off somewhere around Mania, probably at Mania, I reckon. But yeah, I think his reactions and certainly something's not right there.
Yeah, and don't worry, in the North Bank, we do acknowledge you. Yeah, Jake, I'm going to go to you with the next one because obviously at the end of that promo, The Rock, went to do his famous catchphrase and was stopped by Roman Reigns. And then obviously we all saw what happened. He asked The Rock to acknowledge him. Did you feel that was The Rock? Obviously, he's not meant it because we all know what's going to be happening. But, what did you make of that? Roman Reigns actually stopping The Rock mid-promo, mid-catchphrase. It's never been done before, to be fair. What was your thoughts and feelings when you saw that arm put out and stopped?
Yeah, when I heard it, I was just listening to the crowd, and all I kept thinking was that when Roman did it, everyone stopped, even me, when I was like gasp or like, seeing the holy shit and everything like that. I was just talking about it to my mates as well about it and seeing their reactions, and they were like, "Oh my, that really happened."
It was crazy. It was really crazy. Like, where do we see this going? We know The Rock is going to obviously have a match with Roman somewhere down the line. Adam, do you think the setup is planned for WrestleMania, or do you think it's much further down the line?
So, I mean, look, certainly, as I've kind of already said, WrestleMania Night 2 isn't going to end with Rock and Roman standing tall together, arm in arm, with Roman hoisting the title up. There's going to be, even if it's seemingly accidental, The Rock's going to cause Roman a problem. It might be during the tag match, and we'll come on to that. That's not something I'm a big fan of, but we will speak about that a bit later, obviously. But going into Night 2, I imagine they'll still be together, and coming out of it, they won't be. Now, will it be another, Cena Rock style 12-month build-up? Maybe, maybe not. I'd suggest more likely SummerSlam. You'll see Rock versus Roman Reigns. Neither one of them the champion, but the, head of the table, whatever it is you want to call it. Not totally out of question that Roman Reigns be the babyface.
Yeah.
Good show.
I was speaking to that with my friend as well. He said, actually, we could get this where that's how they swing Roman back to the babyface, and The Rock actually takes control of the bloodline. Is that something you would like to see, Craig?
I think so. I think it could be, a bit like how Sammy sort of come out of the bloodline. We could see something similar with sort of Roman coming out. Maybe The Rock kind of does to Roman what Roman did to Sammy, kind of thing, the way he treats him. And that's how we could then see Roman stepping into that, babyface with The Rock being the heel.
Yeah, no, good shout. That's definitely what we could see. And you know what? I prefer that. I prefer The Rock as a heel. I think even though
it's been enjoyable.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like back to the old days, and like the crowd, even though he's a heel, they still love him. You can tell he's still getting the love.
Like, I didn't even notice. Someone pointed it out to me. Like the eyes on the screen, like they've changed reds since he's been the heel. They've gone from the blue to the reds.
The red, yeah.
I don't know if anyone else picked that up or not, but
yeah.
There's
a lot been made out about this hand symbol as well. Where he does the L, and I don't know. I don't know if that Rock might just have a dodgy thumb or something like that. I don't think there's too much into that, to be fair. But we'll see. I know Seth picked up on it on Raw. We'll come to Raw in a bit later. But yeah, so that promo ended with the challenge issued. And then we went into our first match of the night. I know the entrances were cut short. It was put online because The Rock went over time. And Tony, I'll go to you with the next one. What do you make of this girl? And, where's her ceiling? How far do you think she's going to have? Well, how do you think her 2024 is going to be?
She's going to win Money in the Bank. I think this year she's going to just elevate. She's going to be the next big star. You can see by the way that they're making the packages and the way they're portraying her and the way she's just reacted with the fans and everything. I can't see anything but good stuff coming from her this year, to be honest. And
Adam, are you a fan on Tiffy time?
Yeah, I think so. She's I think for one she's going to be a bit more of a slow burner. I don't think she's going to explode in 2024. I think she's going to kind of be how can I kind of put it? Kind of Sami Zayn level when he was with the Bloodline, that sort of thing, kind of bubbling under the surface. She's not gonna. I'm gonna predict she doesn't win Money in the Bank and she doesn't win a world title, but people they're gonna allow it to get to the point where people are clamoring for it, and then she'll probably win the Rumble in 25.
Yeah, it's a good
And
possibility.
that's when they'll kick go on her.
Yeah.
And Jake, what about her opponent? I know Naomi's just come back, and she kind of, well, you could say jobbed to her on SmackDown. What has Naomi been brought back for? What do you see her doing this year? Do you see her just being as a bit part player on SmackDown, or do you think she's got a chance to get back into the main event page?
I saw well, I don't really like what WWE are doing at the moment with her. They're basically treating her like a jobber, if that makes sense. Like when they did it on Raw, on SmackDown, they didn't have her entrance or anything. They just had her as a jobber entrance, as people say. And then obviously the big one's about Tiffany, but I reckon I know people saying that Tiffany might win Money in Bank, but I sort of see Naomi winning it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a big, like, with the glow briefcase and everything she does. I can kind of see that happening.
Could be a good shout, to be fair.
I was very upset to see because Naomi's music's not the same as it was before, is it?
Yeah.
No.
It's lower key and more generic. I was genuinely quite upset about that because an entrance is a big part of it. The Undertaker, Rock, Stone Cold, the big stars, Warrior, Hogan. You can all pinpoint their entrance and their music and how it looks and feels. And you could with Naomi, and I'm not saying she was or could be at that level, but her entrance was a big part of it. And they've, for some reason, in my opinion, taken a big positive away from her presentation. I don't understand why.
Yeah. Craig, just finally, are you a fan of Tiffy, and can you see her pushing on this year, or do you think next year's her big break?
I think I wouldn't mind seeing her win Money in the Bank, but I think if you are looking at it like what Adam said, I think there's a strong possibility that they kind of use 2024 to kind of push her up. And then 2025, like you said, perfect opportunity, Royal Rumble, go out, make a name for yourself. I am a fan. I think she looks good in the ring. She seems to draw the crowd in. She has a good rapport with them and stuff. But yeah, Money in the Bank might be a bit of a far stretch. But yeah, the Royal Rumble, 100%. She's got to be top 3 to potentially win that.
I mean, she was getting a lot of love in Australia, wasn't she? In that chamber.
Yeah.
I think WWE might be quite surprised. I think they brought her in to be a heel. I don't think she will stay as a heel. If personally this year, I think they might slowly turn her towards the end of the year. Then, like Adam said, possibly winning the Rumble as a face. We'll see. So then, after that, we went into I think it was the Bailey tag team match. And I'll start with you, Craig, again. What was your thoughts on Dakota Kai now? She's shown her true colours. She's with
100%.
Did you see
I have to admit, I was talking to a friend about it, I think the week before, and I said it's happening. I said it's going to come. I don't think it was one of those things that they were going to drag out. I think the moment it happened was more of a shock than it actually happening. You kind of knew it was going to come. You just didn't know where in the match it was going to come. It sets it up nicely, leading up to WrestleMania. Does Bailey look at getting some people to kind of have her back a little bit? How Cody and Seth seem to have, that could be an interesting who. I don't know, but we did see afterwards the whole Jade Cargill staring at EO. Could that be a potential? I don't know, but you've got to think Bailey's got to have some backup plan going into Mania, especially with all of the members now together looking stronger than ever.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, to carry on with that, Tony, do you reckon, who could you see Bailey bringing in? If you could choose, basically, obviously people might say Sasha Banks and all this sort of stuff, but who could you realistically see that's on the current roster now helping her out because she's burnt so many bridges being in Damage Control?
See, I don't think anyone. I still think that Dakota Kai is going to turn on Damage Control and help Bailey.
So
I think it's a double turn. Yeah.
Like a double agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I thought to myself, something does not look right. I think she's gonna turn on her and help Bailey win the belt, and I think that's what will happen at Mania.
Yeah, and Adam, your thoughts on the whole Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Damage Control situation?
Sure. Well, as soon as I saw it, I text my mate who watches it as well. Like, that double cross turn was a shock, which can only be described as definitely not one. As the most telegraphed kind of, angle, even to call it. I don't mind inevitable and predictable angles sometimes when it's going where you want it to.
Yeah.
But for me, it was just a bit too telegraphed, a bit too obvious, and don't think I'm going to disagree with Tony. I don't think she's going to double cross, whatever you want to call it, triple double bluff. I do think there's a possibility Bailey does get some allies. I can't see it being purely a 4-on-1. The only one which is just niggling at the back of my mind, Charlotte, maybe, if she's able to kind of hobble out there, something like that,
Not a bad show.
With a horsewoman kind of thing. With then to set up, of course, for Bailey v Charlotte down the line, maybe SummerSlam. I mean, I'm pretty positive. I'd bet my house on Bailey's going to win the title.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's going to have to get some sort of, like we say, some sort of ally, someone to watch her back. Or again, maybe Tony will be right. Maybe that will be Dakota Kai, but my prediction is it won't be.
Cool. And Jake, do you prefer Bailey as a heel or as a babyface? We all saw her when she first arrived. She was very good babyface, but it did get quite stale quick. And then the heel turn was, like basically John Cena turned in heel. Would you prefer her this way, or would you prefer her back as a face?
I sort of would prefer her to be face, because she obviously back in her NXT days, she was like one of the top stars in NXT, and then obviously Triple H liked her more and put her to the main roster. And but yeah, after that she went heel with Sasha Banks and everyone else, and then she was the one that made Damage Control, and she can probably be the reason why Damage Control gets broken. Yeah, I reckon. Or maybe with what Tony say about Jade possibly helping her. And yeah, I think that will happen. For certain.
We're certainly going to be interested in seeing the next few weeks, what avenue she goes down and who she tries to align herself with. So the next part of the show was obviously this guy. Now, he is a talent, a star, his pedigrees, we all know who his dad is. Craig, what's your thoughts on Braun Breaker?
I think he's great. I'm just a bit. I kind of wish that he'd gone to Raw so he could have been part of that Intercontinental title. I think him versus Gunther would have been absolutely phenomenal. Even if it was just on Raw, but even as a WrestleMania kind of level, it'll be interesting to see. Once they decide to not have him in these quick squash matches, who they have lined up, because I honestly have no idea. Do they put him if Cody finishes the story? If Roman, do they put him up there? Do they put him with, talks of the United States Championship? Where can he can go? I don't think it will be too long until he's maybe in the title picture. What title though? I don't really know, but there's no denying he's a great talent, and I think he's got the potential. I think I saw someone maybe talking about Money in the Bank, but is that a bit too soon for him? I don't know, but definitely a promising talent going forward, 100%.
So Adam, I'll give this question to you. If you're Triple H, how are you booking Braun Breaker for the rest of this year?
So I'm having him stay very dominant. I'm probably having him stay more or less undefeated, certainly not being pinned. He might be in Money in the Bank and not win it. Someone else does something like that. He might get some DQ defeats. I think they need to decide and go with, look, is he going to be a monster heel or is he going to be a more likable baby face? Not so, I don't mean like slapping hands and all that, but is he going to be more, Goldberg or more, I don't know, Great Khali, maybe not Great Khali, but, an unstoppable heel. Umaga might have been a better example there. And go with that. And what I need to do is keep him dominant, keep him winning. Because, I know it's not real, but wins do matter. You're looking at AEW, MJF got over because he kept winning. And, Roman's got over because he keeps winning. And that's what I need to do. Have him win week after week. Not necessarily always squash matches. You can have some 10-minute matches. You can have people come close. But I'd have him as the 2024 Gunther, maybe. Not necessarily winning the IC Championship or the US Championship, but winning, dominant, undefeated. Stick with which side of the fence he's going to be on. Don't try and play both sides against the middle. Have him, tween or anything like that. Make a decision. Keep him there. And then maybe similar to what I was talking about Timothy Stratton, maybe go into 2025 when they really strap the rocket to him, and then he starts main eventing, getting in a title picture, that sort of thing.
Cool. And Tony, are you pretty much along the same lines as Adam, or can you see him taking a different kind of path?
No, everything they just said was exactly what I would have said. Well, not yeah. So I think that WWE have a very, very big habit of doing things like with Ryback, with Brock Lesnar, with Batista, doing things like this. So they've got a copy, they've got a generic thing of what they do with them, and they know what they're doing. Let's just hope that. And he's got all the talent in the world. He seems like a really talented wrestler.
100%.
Really does, yeah. And the thing is, he's NXT Tag Champion as well. So obviously, he's still got to do the matches and then go and defend that. So I think, like what you just said, that he will be in squash matches probably for the next couple of weeks, maybe a month. And then I think you'll see the 10-minute matches, the 15-minute matches, them coming in once he gets rid of that title.
And yeah, Jake, this question that Tariq has just put in the chat is, it's not really a question, but a good point, to be fair. Can you see them doing something like that or keeping him as a single competitor?
I think he's better as a single competitor. I do like what he's doing in NXT. Yesterday with Corbin, but I think he's better as a single competitor. Because I loved him when he was like NXT champion for a while. Him and Carmelo rivalry. And I just think that he's better on singly. Hopefully win the title down the line, but
I just want to shout out. We got Thunderlips is giving us a watch in the chat. Hulk Hogan from the Rockies movie, basically. But yeah, just want to say thank you so far for everyone who's watching in. We've got nearly 300 people watching us at the moment, and chat is going well at the moment. So you boys are doing well. I didn't want to add any more pressure on you boys, but no, you're doing well. You're doing well. So yeah, the next segment, obviously, we saw the return of a legend. We can call him a legend. Some people are saying he could be included in this year's Hall of Fame, or is it still a bit too early for him? Craig, what did you make of Rey Mysterio coming back? I mean, he certainly looks like a Hall of Famer now at the moment with that beard, but are you glad to see him back?
100%. Yeah, I am. I think everyone in the arena, the pop that he got when he come out was unbelievable. I think he's always been a fan favourite amongst a lot of people, me for one. So yeah, it was good to see him come back and kind of ignite that rivalry between the two groups a little bit more as well.
Yeah, no, it's great. And do you see him going in the Hall of Fame this year, potentially next year, or has he still got a lot more to give?
Not this year. I think maybe next year. Probably next year. I think they've. I know we're going to talk about it later, but I think they've done the main person already for the Hall of Fame. I think Rey Mysterio deserves that, the headlining person of the Hall of Fame. I don't think it'll be this year. I think it'll be next year, to be honest. Because I still think he's got a lot to give.
Wasn't Ray inducted last year? Who did Conan induct last year?
He
I was,
did.
do
Yeah.
you know what? I was
He
thinking
He
wasn't
the same.
really did get inducted.
And I didn't want to, because weren't there that whole
I didn't
thing?
want to say, but I was just
Weren't
thinking,
there
know.
that whole thing with Dom and
Yeah.
Rhea walked
Yeah,
out?
yeah, no, he
yeah.
walked off. Yeah, he was inducted
Yeah.
last year.
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't,
he
I
walked
didn't
out.
want to say
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
I didn't want to make anyone look, you know, whatever.
No, it's fine. It's all right, guys. I'll see you later. Yeah, peace out, Adam. No, that's my bad. No, you're totally right. Thank
You
you.
you knew something had to go wrong on first night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. It has to happen.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. They're all coming
I'm
now.
just glad you said it because
Ray's already in. Ray's already in. Yeah, that's my bad. That's my R-Truth moment for the week. All right, we're allowed one. We're allowed one every week, and that's my one.
That's it.
Yeah, no. Jake, what's your thoughts on Rey Mysterio and how much he's given to this business and his legacy and what he's got left in the tank, really?
Well, he's one of the main reasons why I like WWE because I saw him back in the Eddie days, and I've sort of really liked him since then. And when he came back, that Smackdown, I was completely losing it, like going crazy, because it's when he faked when he was on the crutches and then he faked
you knew that was coming.
Yeah. He wasn't even limping properly, was he? You could tell.
No, like the worst attempt at faking injury. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, Adam, you've been to a few WrestleManias. We were chatting off air just before we come on. I mean, what's your thoughts around Rey Mysterio and everything he's done for this business? To be fair.
I mean, yeah, like pretty much everyone, I have the utmost respect for him. He has the gravitas, he has the credibility. It feels like a big deal when Rey Mysterio's on the show in the arena. Forgive me, somebody said he's added a real kind of shot in the arm to this feud between the two sort of Mexican groups, the Latino groups. And I think it's something I'm looking forward to at WrestleMania now, where they're going to go with this, kind of LWO versus the kind of anti-LWO, whatever you want to call them. I know they have got a name, but I forget it. Forgive me.
Phantasma.
El Fantasma or something.
This is what I didn't attempt to. But yeah, love Ray. He's a genuine, living legend, a genuine active legend, and it's great to see him back. And it's great to see. I assume he's going to be having a key match at WrestleMania. Cool, and rightly deserved as well. To be fair, and yeah, we went on to the main event of the evening. Was Randy Orton, wasn't it? And Austin Theory and Grayson Waller was there, and he had KO on comms, which was pretty eventful. I enjoyed KO on comms, and then obviously we had the ending that we did, and we saw KO come out, and he kind of like made an alliance with Randy Orton there. Can you see anything in that, Adam, or is that pretty just to help him that night? Yeah, I don't necessarily think that's the start of anything, any kind of odd couple tag team, anything like that. I think it's just a case of one babyface helping another on that particular show, and that kind of little moment of respect. It's interesting to see because I'm a big Randy Orton mark, to use a wrestling term there, and he's very similar to Rey Mysterio, and he has that gravitas, that credibility. He's an active kind of legend of the ring, and I can't quite see where they're going with him for WrestleMania. Considering we're 3 weeks out, whatever it is, 4 weeks out, they've got to get somewhere soon because he's got to be in a marquee match, in my opinion. Same with Kevin Owens, really. I mean, Kevin Owens main evented the last two, if I remember rightly. Night one of the last two WrestleManias. So it feels a bit like they both need something to do, and I don't think they're going to face each other. So I just think that's a way of a main event of Smackdown this Friday, main event of the show, reminding us that they're there, reminding them that they're important, and just set to build up something for each of them individually, not connected to each other, I predict.
And Craig, are we obviously seeing the start of Randy Orton and Logan Paul? Is that going to be the US title match at Mania? Can you see anybody else adding into that match, or would it just be them two?
I think going off the KO and Randy Orton thing, I think that might be maybe like some Smackdowns leading up. You've got the Logan, Waller, and Theory. It could be maybe there's a tag team match, Orton and KO against Waller and Theory, with Logan Paul maybe ringside. That could maybe spark the whole Orton Logan Paul thing going on. I mean, they had a little something in Australia, didn't they, at the press conference? And then during obviously the chamber match. I think definitely both of them, Orton and KO, need to be involved in WrestleMania, 100%. If Orton, if his way is to face Logan, I think potentially we could see him taking that title off of Logan, potentially. KO, I don't really know how he's going to fit into it, really, at the moment. I mean, I hope they've got long enough. What, 4, like we said, 3-4 weeks?
Yeah.
So they've got some time to try and fit him in somewhere along the lines. It would have been nice maybe if there's a bit how like they did the Elimination Chamber. You had some Raw and Smackdown to face Seth. It would have been maybe nice if they'd mix some Smackdown stars in with the Intercontinental. Maybe that could have been KO's way. But I think with this, we're going to go on to Raw in a minute anyway. The people that are on in that, where would you have really fit KO in that? So yeah, unless they make the US title somewhere, KO and Randy maybe get on the wrong side of each other at the end of a tag match, maybe, and it ends up like a triple threat. Maybe I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating or wishing for that. Maybe. Yeah.
That's. I mean, Gillian's made a good comment there about a US title ladder match at WrestleMania. Tony, is that something you would like to see? And obviously KO in that as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think Logan Paul would excel, and for someone who's only been in wrestling for that length of time, he is just out of this world. He's amazing. I think who was it who was calling him the greatest of all time? Was it Pat McAfee? Was it Corey Graves was saying he's the greatest or something already? Or I just think he's really good, and I think a US ladder match, because at WrestleMania you've got to have like a big stipulation match. So I think a ladder match would be perfect. And then you could have so many different people in there with their storylines intertwining. And then obviously it would be a really good match.
Yeah. And Jake, yourself, is there anything different you would do? Maybe potentially a triple threat match, KO, Randy and Logan Paul. Is that something you would see, or would you like to see something else like a ladder match?
Well, I've seen mostly on Twitter that it's probably gonna. I don't really see a triple threat happening. I could just see as Orton and Logan, but maybe if it's like a no DQ or something along those lines, that KO comes in and sort of helps Randy, but mainly puts it on Logan, so them two start like a rivalry, but not a title rivalry. Like what he did with Theory and what we did with Theory before.
Yeah, I hope they do find something for him. I do. Hope
I mean, another way potentially the KO show. We forget like that could maybe be a way. But saying that, would they had that with Stone Cold? Would they really go down that? Would they rather have him in a match rather than kind of doing the whole host, doing the chat show at Mania?
Yeah, I hope they do something for him, because KO is a great talent. Even if they can't find him something, stick him on comms, because I thought he was brilliant on Friday Night SmackDown. To be fair, just reminded me of CM Punk, but obviously not as pipe bomby as Punk. Then when we moved into Raw, which was on Monday, and we opened up obviously with this massive promo, with Seth and Cody kind of aligning now, and they will give the answer this week on Friday's SmackDown. Adam, first of all, what did you make of the promo? Was it as good as The Rock's and Roman's? Because I know there's been quite a lot saying, Seth has called him a few names. I don't really want to repeat on here. But yeah, what was your initial thoughts on that whole segment?
Do you know what? I kind of touched on it earlier. I'm not digging this. I'm not behind this tag match. I think they should be spending the time heating up the World Heavyweight Championship, because it's been
100%.
totally overshadowed by the Undisputed. You've had Seth. Okay, Seth was injured. I wouldn't have had a problem. I don't mind them not taking the title off him when it was a relatively short, medium-term injury. But it's been totally overshadowed by the Bloodline, by going for the Undisputed title, by finishing the story. Again, we'll come to it later. But even Drew McIntyre in that main event, he was kind of extra part in the Uso storyline.
Yeah.
You know, they should be focusing on building up Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Championship, how important it is to both of them, rather than this tag team match, which feels tacked on. It feels a way of getting The Rock to wrestle on the card. You know, don't get me wrong, I've absolutely no issue with The Rock wrestling. I'm happy with that. But the promo was fine, and it was nothing bad about it. It wasn't as enjoyable. So the SmackDown opening with The Rock and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, it ran about 40 minutes, and it felt like about 10, and I mean that in a good way. This one, Cody Seth, was probably half that time, and felt like longer. You know, I wouldn't say I was bored as such, but I wasn't enthralled, I wasn't engrossed. It felt like they were doing it to do it, you know, to get Cody to respond and to get Seth out there with him and to build this tag match, which I'm not behind.
No. Yeah, I agree, to be fair. Just want to read out this comment. The Colonel Ward has put, he's got an ideal dream match. It would be Diane Abbott versus Susan Boyle in a bra and panties match. So, I don't know how...
AI somewhere can help you with that, Colonel.
But yeah, I don't think that would get many views on the network, to be fair, Colonel. But
I'd have nightmares.
If I was you, pick yourself up a copy of WWE 2K24, download them, and away you go. But yeah, that's a great one. I had to read that out. Yeah, no, Craig, yourself, what did you make of the promo? And do you agree? I agree with Adam. I don't think Seth needs to be involved, to be fair. It just feels like he's interjected himself into it. And
I 100% agree with what Adam said. I'm not a massive fan of this tag match either. Don't get me wrong, again, to see The Rock wrestle, yeah, great. Did it need to be involved in all of this in a tag match for it to happen? I thought the promo was really great. I missed those kind of, you know, like was it WrestleMania 7, Rock and Austin, that whole build up, the promo video, like they talk about the World Heavyweight Championship being the one to kind of be the better one than the universe, you know, to make it relevant. Seth's been a workhorse, you know, making it relevant. And then it's just, there's no hype. There's no build up between him and Drew. It's all talking about The Rock and Cody and, you know, ending the bloodline. And I agree that they should have just binned it off, or maybe started it a little bit earlier and had this tag match at Elimination Chamber. Got it out of the way, and then fully focused the build up on Cody and Roman and Seth and Drew. Just build it up a hell of a lot more, because there's so much potential there. You know, Drew's story of wanting to main event at WrestleMania and win a title in front of a crowd, finishing his story. You know, there's Seth that wants to prove a point, you know, this whole back injury, you know, making the title relevant. He needs that title. He wants that title. That title's part of him. It's a missed opportunity, I think, 100%.
Yeah. No, I agree. And Tony, do you feel it's damaging? You know, it's a new title. You know, I know it's an old title they've brought back, but as in new design and trying to reintroduce it back in, and like you say, the workman's title and stuff like that. But I think it is damaging. You know, I think they'll make Seth lose or get hurt night one, and that, you know, helps towards Drew winning at WrestleMania. How do you see this all going, and Tony, and obviously the whole situation with that segment?
I think, like, you're right. Seth don't need to be in this. He needs to be. The world title needs to be its own separate match and its own separate build towards Mania. I think with the promo, I think, again, it was like it was said earlier, it went on for 20 minutes, but it seemed like an hour. It seemed like it seemed very scripted, where the Rock and Romans was that they had some of the things they were saying. It was just like they reacted to certain situations and they were just on the ball, where Seth and Cody seemed very generic, very, you say this, I say that. And I mean, I don't know, I think it was the name he made for The Rock. He called him Diary Dwayne.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That was the best you could come up with. Yeah.
I mean, that's something like the 5-year-olds were saying in the playground.
Yeah.
And that reminded me of Suffering Succotash. And remind me of
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, yucking in the back. Audience of one. That's
Exactly.
What
100%, yeah.
And it's like The Rock's calling people on SmackDown. I don't know if I can say it, but he's saying meth head Marys and crackhead Karens, and it's like it's not been said before. And I'm like, you're not five. This world title deserves more. And the thing is, Drew McIntyre as well. Did anyone see that video of him when he was leaving the arena?
Yeah,
When he
brilliant.
left Raw and he played CM Punk's music, and he was played it out of his car.
All the
everyone
fans
in
are
the
booing
thing.
him.
Yeah, it was so funny. And I think the thing is, when he won the title during COVID in the empty arena, I think he deserves it. His work at the moment, he seems so natural, and everything he's done. Like, was it
Definitely.
DM Hunk? I mean, come on, like that's just it's just funny.
Like the way he's being as well with this heel thing, it's such a missed opportunity with like the whole promo, like with everything, like because he is playing it brilliantly. He really is.
And it's like it's the subtle things he stopped doing. Like I've noticed over the last couple of weeks that he stopped doing his 3-2-1 with Claymore, but he only did it this week. He stopped doing that because it's like it's a generic. Oh, let's get the crowd interacted, and he don't bring out the sword no more. He comes out and he's just badass. He's just literally badass, and he just I think he deserves the title, and I think he will not bring it to the prestige it deserves, but I think he'll be a better champion than Seth will.
Yeah, no, I agree. I must admit, my friend and I were talking. We've called him a menace. He's literally a menace at the moment.
Yeah.
And also, I hope to see him win the title. I know my missus won't like that because she likes Seth. But hopefully he wins the title. And Jake, where do you see him going when he grabs this title? You know, obviously he continues as a heel. Do you potentially see him having a long run? Who do you potentially see stepping up to the plate against him? Obviously, we know who when he returns from injury. But until that time, who could you see stepping up?
I could possibly, as he's still got the money, like Damien Priest, shout.
Yeah.
Like he gets, I don't know, if he gets injured during a Raw from Seth or someone after, if he does win the championship, or either during the match, like what because like what they did with him back when there was COVID, when he won the title, and then Big Show came out and did that little thing with him. I reckon that might happen, but with Damien cashing in, where Drew has a little celebration, and then all you hear is his music, Damien's music, or the Judgment Day's music, and cashes in, and I think that might happen, or I see that happening.
Well, hopefully not. You know, you guys probably agree. So I actually want to see Drew have a title run in front of a live crowd as well.
Yeah.
And the way he's being at the moment is nothing short than a menace at the moment. And long may it continue. I love the videos and the T-shirts he's bringing out, especially that one by the graveyard with CM Punk. That was brilliant. To be fair, the T-shirts lately have been quite cool. I mean, The Rock slapping Cody and Cody's one back. They have been quite funny, to be fair. And then we had our first match, and I actually quite enjoyed this match. I'll go to you, Adam, again. First of all, what was your thoughts on this match? I think Dominic put up quite a bit of a performance, obviously, until he got slapped across the chops. But yeah, what did you make of the match?
So I enjoyed the match. I mean, look, a 25% Gunther match is going to be pretty good, isn't it? And Dominic Mysterio's come on, you know, he's probably the most improved over the last kind of 12, 18 months. You know, certainly on the kind of big North American shows. Again, I don't want to be the one that keeps bringing up negative stuff, so I'll stick mostly to it as a good match. I enjoyed it. I like both those guys. The only thing I'm a bit worried by, there's been a few times recently, the Royal Rumble a little bit, and there was another match, I think it was maybe on Smackdown, I forget when, they're kind of putting over what a fighting spirit Dominic has and, you know, how brave he is and that. I don't want to see him turn face any time in the next kind of 12 months or so. So I want to keep him as a kind of, you know, chicken shit heel, kind of snidey little pinnacle, that sort of thing. And obviously, gradually you can show the great ability that he's got and the improvement that he's making. But Gunther versus Damien Priest versus Dominic Mysterio didn't make sense to me at this point in time. And I am quite glad, not to go off on a complete tangent, not to digress too much, but I'm glad he didn't end up having any big moments with Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. No, that's not where I want Dominic at the moment. I want him as kind of the chicken shit kind of, I don't know what language we can use on here, but the rent boy for Rhea Ripley, that sort of thing. I don't know if it's going to get us banned or anything.
Cancelled after one night.
You're all right now.
Adam is cancelled. But yeah, no, it's a good. Like I said, I don't want to be Mr. Negative. I was already negative about the first bit. So it's a good match. I like both of them. They're both really good. So yeah, I was pleased to see it.
And then Tony, we went on to the next match after. We saw Shayna Baszler and Miss Stark get an opportunity to face the Kabuki Warriors. Do you see them winning the titles against them, or is it just plugging a gap until we get to Mania?
Yeah, I think it's, again, like you said, it's just plugging a gap till we get to WrestleMania. I think the women's tag team division needs to be scrapped. I think the teams are just people are just put together for the sake of it. It's like Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. What history have they got together? It's literally, it makes no sense. I mean, there has been some decent teams, but then every week you get Natalya linked up with some random person. Oh, I'm your best friend. Let me be with you. It's just like it just makes no sense. It just makes no sense to me. I mean, they need another title, the women's division, but obviously that we can talk about that later. But I think that with this, I think it's just a plug gap till Mania. To be honest, I don't think they're going to win.
Who can you see facing the Kabuki Warriors at Mania if they actually get a match, or it's not on the pre-show sort of thing?
Again, it'll probably, like you said, it'll probably be on a pre-show, but it'll probably be. Off the top of my head, I can't think.
That's fine.
I was talking to a mate about it the other day, to be fair, and I don't know why we both dropped Fatal 4-Way Tag. Not seen one for a little while. It gives the women's division a chance for maybe the top teams to showcase their talents at WrestleMania. Who I'm with Tony though. Who I have absolutely no idea. Because there just doesn't seem to be any strength in the tag team division at the moment. You don't know who's with who. You don't know who the number one contender. Apart from obviously Zoe and Shayna winning it, you don't. Who's coming out and saying, "I want to fight." I want to challenge you. I want to. We want the NXT, the women's tag team titles. You've just got no idea at the minute.
Yeah. I mean, Adam, Jake, I'll ask the question as well to you. Do you see what teams can you see possibly facing the Kabuki Warriors? I'll start with you, Adam.
Sure. I mean, good question. Again, there's no one which immediately springs to mind. Whether they do some kind of, odd couple or something like that. I'm just wondering because I don't watch NXT a lot, and if there's someone maybe can come up from there, maybe someone like, who was it, Maxine Dupree and. Someone to team with her, but again, I don't mean any disrespect at all. And again, I'm desperately trying not to be Mr. Negative tonight, but
that's fine.
I'm not waiting with bated breath to see the women's tag match at WrestleMania.
Exactly. Yeah, I think we're all on the same boat. Jake, are you? Can you see it being saved anytime soon?
I've seen some names thrown out, but just like rumors. But obviously, with one person, she's involved with something. I was going to say Liv and Raquel when they were a tag team, but obviously with what we're probably going to mention later down the line with Liv. But I was going to say those two. They're tagging up again, but obviously something might else happen. But and I do agree with Adam as well, with someone from NXT possibly. That I do see that happening, but you can never know these days. But yeah.
And then I'll go to you, Craig, on this one. It feels a bit like Seth as well. It feels like Becky. She's not really concentrating on Rhea Ripley. She's focused. She was focused on Raw with Nia Jax, and Liv Morgan also got involved in that match as well. First of all, Becky and Rhea, that should be a great match. Obviously, them two got a lot of history. But where do you see the likes of Nia and Liv Morgan, potentially having matches at WrestleMania? Do you see them having any sort of ring time?
I really don't know. Like you say, Becky kind of seems to be distracted with this whole Nia thing, with Liv obviously getting involved. And it kind of, if we're talking about the Seth and Drew promo needing that push, so does Rhea and Becky. That kind of needs that rivalry, Rhea screwing Becky one week, Becky screwing Rhea the next, having little brawls and little things like that. But, does Liv and Nia make their way to WrestleMania by maybe next week's match, Nia getting involved and attacking Liv, and that starts a whole thing between them two. Whether it's a WrestleMania main card match or whether it's a kickoff match, that might be their way to get into it. But apart from that, I don't really, unless Nia gets thrown with someone for a tag match and Liv gets chucked in with someone for a tag match, they might, but you just don't have any idea really at the moment, kind of the women's, apart from obviously the main, Io versus Bayley and Rhea versus Becky. You don't really have any idea how any of the other kind of women are going to fit into any kind of matches, and it's disappointing because there's some great talent. There really is. But yeah, I don't really know how Liv and Nia at the moment kind of find themselves getting into WrestleMania.
It's a shame they've done so well to build up the women's division, to move away from that whole divas persona and make them actual superstars. It's a shame it's been, I don't know, it just seems like it's being left to rot away a bit, without the main. To be fair, Rhea Ripley's carrying it at the moment, if you ask me. I don't think Io is quite a particularly good champion. I think she's just holding it for Bayley, like you say. You just hopefully they can reignite the women's division after WrestleMania.
Definitely.
Adam, I'll go to you. I'll try and give you something a bit more positive. How good was it to see this guy back in the WWE? And he's such a great talent. Obviously his wife works there as well, so you've got them together. But do you potentially see him joining the Judgment Day? I know it's been rumored, and their Dominic Mysterio's kind of wants him in. You can see it coming in. Do you think that would be a good move, or do you see him more as like a singles competitor going his own way?
So what I think is they'll court him, and he'll look like he's considering it, but then it'll be a big moment for him where he kind of turns them down, fights them off 3-on-1, 4-on-1, whatever, and that gives him a big kind of baby face kind of boost. So he then feuds with them for a little bit, perhaps feuds with Dominic Mysterio. They have some great matches, I'm sure they'll both put on some really cool, lucha style matches. There'll be a lot of kind of, that background behind it, about the respect side of things. And that's my prediction. They caught him, but he turns them down, and that gives him a big babyface boost. And he goes into the summer as kind of, the kind of next level below main event babyface on Raw.
Are you a fan of Andrade?
Yeah, me? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think he's really good.
Excellent. And then, so Jake, then we had Judgment Day. Speaking of Judgment Day against Imperium. I don't know, the tag team titles as well seem to have been, by the wayside as well. Do you see Imperium challenging them again, maybe at Mania, or is, you got the Awesome Truth potentially, Regeneration X, as they're now being branded. Where do you potentially see the tag team title picture going at Mania?
Well, I think they're just going to split the tag titles. Not before, I don't know if, hopefully before, or do like a tag team tournament type thing at Mania. Like what Adam Pearce was talking about, saying that he's going to go Smackdown, talk to what's his name?
Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis, yeah. And talk about the tag titles, but I genuinely think they're going to split them. Or hopefully split them. I was talking to other mates about it, and they want the tag titles split as well.
I think they definitely need to do it. But again, like if they do that, could that be a way to save the women's? Do you do a Raw women's tag team and a SmackDown? You know, that might be a potential. But whether they look at that or not, I don't know. But
there's definitely scope for more titles. To be fair, I mean, there's potentially you could have a women's US championship. Do you know what I mean? And like I said, I preferred it when there was each show had their own titles, because it just made you would get championship matches nearly every week on Raw and SmackDown. You was guaranteed. I don't understand this whole women's tag team match. They can be on any show, including NXT. It just doesn't. It just loses the value of the titles, if you ask me.
Yeah. But
it'd be interesting to see. And then, moving on, obviously, to the IC title picture. We saw Sami Zayn. He was in a match against Ivar. Unfortunately, I haven't got the picture of Michael Cole with the antlers. I did try to find it. I was going to have that up there, but no, I couldn't find it. And then, obviously, Sami Zayn won the match, and we had Bronson Reed come out and show his strength, before that gauntlet match, which is to take place. But yeah, Tony, are we all in agreement here that it's going to be Sami Zayn that goes on to face Gunther at WrestleMania?
100%. I think they're gonna put on an amazing match at WrestleMania. I can see before they announced the gauntlet, I thought Gunther would carry on past WrestleMania with a belt, but now looking at that and who's in it, I think Sami Zayn is going to win it, and Sami Zayn will get another moment at WrestleMania like he did last year.
Yeah, just going to chat with everyone's in agreement with you guys. Gillian said the tag titles need splitting. There's strong rumours that there could be a women's intercontinental championship on the horizon, potentially come in. You've got Raquel and Liv could reunite to face a Kabuki Warrior. So there's plenty of scope in that for them to do stuff. It's just hopefully they will do it. But yeah, I'll go Craig as well. Do you see Sami Zayn or anybody else potentially?
Do you know what? I'm so on the fence with this. Like, yes, I kind of want Sami to have that WrestleMania moment because but he kind of had that with KO. For me, whether anyone's going to agree or not, Chad Gable. I think he's absolutely amazing. He has taken Gunther to the edge. It seems to be this whole thing. Seth mentioned it, finishing his story, and Drew. There seems to be this whole finishing the story thing. And for me, if they're kind of going down that line, Sami's already kind of finished his story, and he did that with the KO, and why not Chad Gable? Why not? It's not unrealistic. I think 100% he should definitely be considered. I don't think it should be completely written off. Yeah, Sami. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be sad if it was Sami Zayn. I think it would potentially be a really, really good match. But I just think Chad Gable in there, because you've like you say, you've got to think Gunther's going to drop it. We talked about who could be up there for Drew. If he's winning the title, you've got to think now Gunther. He's broken the records. Get him in the World Championship picture moving forward after WrestleMania. And who better to drop the title to than someone like Chad Gable?
They did it really well on Raw. They made Bronson look strong. Made Sami look strong in the match. They also made Chad Gable look strong. Adam, are you kind of wanting Chad as well, or anyone really? To be fair, but who would you, if you could right now choose someone to win it? Would it be Chad for you?
It would. So they've got that kind of backstory from, was it 6 or 9 months ago?
Yeah.
When he pushed Gunther so close, probably closer than anybody else has. Maybe up there with Sheamus in that sort of period as well. And I think he kind of lost to him twice, if I remember rightly, 2 kind of marquee matches. And it'll be kind of, third time lucky, final chance. He's already sort of spoken about, putting a smile on his daughter's face, that kind of thing. I can see him doing a big package about, Chad Gable at home, his family. Everything like that, a bit like they did for Sami in Montreal, Elimination Chamber last year, I think it was, or year before last, whatever it was. I think running into one, and I think this will be his moment. Just by the way, just while we're on this kind of subjects, a little prediction from me. I think this WrestleMania will see some sort of record broken for title changes. I'm talking individual championships. I don't know if there's been one where, the hardcore title changed hands 35 times, whatever. But I think for individual championships, you look, there's so many. We're all pretty convinced Bailey's going to win.
Yeah.
Very good chance Cody's going to win. We've all agreed, and I agree, the tag titles could split. You could even have 2 tag title changes. Intercontinental, very likely Logan Paul drops the US Championship. I can see it being a real kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Shake-up?
Changing of the guard, shake-up, changing of the guard. I think, the WrestleMania, as they call it, the night after, things will look very different. The landscape will look very different, and you'll have several new champions. Rhea Ripley retains is another prediction. We'll not get too much into WrestleMania predictions now. We can do that another time. Yeah, I think, there'll be a lot of title changes at WrestleMania, probably a record amount for a WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. Jake, are you along the same lines in the gauntlet match, or do you prefer Sami Zayn? You look like a bit of a Sami Zayn fan, to be fair, or do you want Chad as well?
I am a fan of Sami, but I was just thinking during everyone else is speaking that I can kind of see Sami if Drew wins the title at Mania, him and Sami, because they've had that rivalry in the past where we've been. But I think I can see Sami winning the world title instead of the Intercontinental title, because he's had that run before.
Yeah.
When he was heel with all the backstage cameras and stuff. But I can see Gable winning it, the gauntlet, or possibly having the gauntlet of Mania, but with Gunther in the picture. I can kind of see that as well. But yeah, hopefully Gable to win it.
Yeah. It'd be good. You can see it now. You can see him in the middle of the ring with his daughter. Like the whole Kofi Kingston title.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, he deserves it. To be fair, he's a workhorse in the business. So you hear good things about him backstage and stuff like that. So hopefully he gets a chance. And then we had our main event tonight. It was obviously Drew versus Jay. Get my tongue right, but yeah, Drew versus Jay, and obviously interference from the Bloodline. We had Solo first, wasn't it? And then Cody come out, took Solo over the barricade and into the fans. And then we had Jimmy, who looked very, very sinister, to be fair, looking at his brother. So obviously we're going to have Jimmy and Jay. That's going to obviously be at WrestleMania. It's a match I've wanted to see for a long time between the two. I think they're both great. Jay just kind of does it for me a little bit more than Jimmy, but with the talent wise. But is that potentially what you want to see, Craig?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think they were great together, chemistry as a tag team. I think it's been building to this moment. The resentment from one brother to another. I think it's got the potential to be, when you watch and you have them like show-stopping moments. Something. I think they've both got the ability to put on one hell of a match. As good old JR used to like a proper slobber knocker. I think they'll proper go for it. I think it's great, and that match where Drew was going up the ramp, and his face when Seth just steamed past him was just absolute. I was dying with laughter. I just thought it was brilliant, because it was kind of like Drew didn't want to believe whether he was still injured or whether it was true or not, whether he was faking. And when he just sprinted down past him, it was brilliant. Yeah.
And Adam, yourself, you a fan of Jay? He's got this whole. He's certainly over with the fans. We can see this whole yeet thing taking off. It's like the yes movement again. To be fair, with the fans, and stuff like that. Do you potentially see him having a big 2024 after Mania?
I do. I think both of them in some ways got kind of lost in the shuffle, to use a dreadful cliche, with obviously CM Punk coming back and Cody being kind of a top babyface and Seth. So Jay was kind of like number 4 babyface on Raw, and Jimmy was kind of, because the Bloodline kind of treaded water for a little bit after kind of SummerSlam and before the Rumble when The Rock coming back. So Jimmy was just kind of there, and he was jobbing out a little bit. I think this is great for both of them. I think exactly as forgive me, somebody, was it Craig just said it's going to be a hell of a match, a slobber knocker. They'll both be determined to steal the show, and I think they will. I think it'll be a memorable, fantastic match. I think Jay will win, and we'll go on to have a very good 2024. He's a potential for Money in the Bank winner, in my opinion. Jey Uso, I think he's
good shout.
Yeah, I think he's a possible there, and I hope, because I like them both a lot. I was a huge fan of them as a tag team. I was a huge fan of Jay as the right hand man and main event Jey Uso, and then when they came back, I think it's them two that kind of made that Bloodline storyline. Because without them, the kind of love-hate with Sami Zayn wouldn't have been there if it had only been one of them. So, and I hope Jimmy has a really good one as well. I think there's probably more headroom on SmackDown. I don't think it's quite as stacked, and I think he could... Maybe if there's a babyface, I don't know if it would make sense to have them both as babyface on separate shows, maybe. I think, we're seeing the kind of... Act 3, final act of the Bloodline at the moment. I don't think it's going to be a thing going forward for all of 2024, certainly not prominent. So Jimmy's going to need his own new niche there, which I hope and think he'll get. So yes, I'm being positive again. I think both Uso brothers will individually have a great 2024.
Yeah, a lot of people agreeing with you in the chat as well. If they think Jay and Jimmy has the possibility to be match of Mania weekend. Jimmy versus Jay opens up WrestleMania Night 1, in my opinion, says Joshua. So yeah, a lot of people agreeing. Tony, you a fan of the two brothers, and obviously, can you see Solo being involved in that match somewhere along the lines? Do you think he will make a choice in that match? Would it do something like that, or do you think it'll just be them two?
I think it'll be them two, but then also I think we'll get some interference from the other things on NXT. I think it's the Samoans on NXT. What are they called? Fatu. I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
but then I think you'll get the two brothers, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you'll get. I think they could interfere potentially. I think it could then start an even bigger Bloodline storyline, and I think obviously you could have the Rock one side, the Roman one side with his family, and I don't want to go off track, but I think Jimmy and Jay, they'll be a great match. I think Jay will probably win it. I think he deserves to win it more for everything he's done this year. I think he's been one of the highlights of the Bloodline, like you said, when it got stale and it just kind of didn't have anything to do. He was making it interesting with with Sammy and things like that. So I think that, I can see it being a great match at Mania, and I can see Jay winning.
Yeah, and Jake, yourself, Jay's main event, Jey Uso, can you see him potentially stepping up and being the main event World Heavyweight Champion, WWE Champion possibly, or do you think he's more Intercontinental US title type?
Probably down a few years, I think. But he's more of a... everyone likes him, but he's more like a mixer type person. He gets people involved in things. He likes to help people. He likes to pump up the crowd. He's but I do see him getting a solo title down the line, either United States or Intercontinental. Maybe Sami Zayn if he does win it, but
that'd be interesting.
Possibly, but
and maybe, sorry, Jake, you want to carry on, or
I was going to say possibly as a heel.
Yeah,
possibly down the line if he gets into a title frame. But,
could be, Once he's picked up the title.
Once he's picked up the title, or because of him and Sammy. But hopefully, if Sammy does, maybe if Sammy wins, then that could possibly spark up something, because they've had the rivalry in the past and obviously with their future. But yeah.
So we closed Raw with obviously this closing picture with Drew basically telling Seth, you need to be focused on me, other than The Rock, basically, which I think we spoke about earlier, which is true. And that was your Raw and SmackDown, to be fair, this week. What Well done, guys. That was brilliant, to be fair. Good review. Just a couple more things before we go. I know it's late, 10 past. I won't keep you too much longer. But yeah, it was broke the news earlier. I think it was earlier this week that this man is finally being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I'm just going to go to each of you. Just give me your thoughts. I know we could be here all night talking about him, to be fair. He's that much of a legend. I'll start with you, Craig. What's your thoughts about, obviously, Paul Heyman finally being inducted in the Hall of Fame, and potentially who do you think could induct him?
Oh, I mean, I think you pretty much summed it up. You know, legend. What he does on camera, off camera. You know, he's been great for the industry all these years that he's been in it, and like you said, you know, finally. But I guess they kind of feel now's the right time to kind of do it. I mean, who does induct him? You know, because the obvious one would have been him who we shall not speak of. Yeah, good shout. Yeah, RVD. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Apart from that, I can't really think of anybody else.
Tommy Dreamer's being talked about in the chat potentially.
Yeah, another one.
Dudley's, yeah. But yeah, Tony, yourself, your thoughts on Heyman?
Amazing. I mean, again, no one that every time you see a documentary or you see a show from WWE on the network, literally no one's got a bad word to say about him. And his brain, it just works. He just understands it. He understands it from A to B to C. He gets it all. I mean, even Michael Cole said it on Raw. He said that he helped him so much become what he is. And he's worked with so many talents who weren't so great on the mic, but then obviously he was their mouthpiece or their advocate or whatever he was. And then they've just excelled. Working with him, it just rubs off, and I think it's fully deserved, especially in Philadelphia, where obviously ECW was born.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Very true, yeah.
And I think that, and inducting him, I mean, it could be, we could see another, it could be part of the storyline where you'll get The Rock will come out or Roman will come out and introduce him. And it's so many different things, because it's something that Paul Heyman would want to do. He wouldn't just want to be inducted. He'll want to give something back.
Yeah.
And even if he gets someone to, I don't know, but we just have to wait and see. But yeah, it's fully deserved.
And yourself, Adam?
So obviously I can't say anything about Paul Heyman that everyone hasn't already. I totally agree. The only thing I will say is I'm looking forward to the best induction speech there probably has been in Hall of Fame history.
I won't be fast forwarding that one, believe me.
That's for sure, yeah.
Billy Jim will be knocked off his perch as best ever induction speech.
And Jake, yourself, a couple of words on Paul Heyman.
He's remarkable man. As with I've liked him since that he's built ECW the way it was. The stuff he did with Punk and the man that should not be named and Roman at the moment. But I love what he's doing at the moment with Roman. He's like the perfect spokesperson for him as the wise man. I just love what he's doing, and it's most certainly deserved Hall of Fame.
Definitely. Right, so just before we go, I'm going to just ask you all one wish that you could have this year from WWE, one thing that you would love to happen, and then we will talk about it a bit more on next week's show if you're on or when you're next on. So Craig, your one wish.
I'm probably going to have to go with, talking about it earlier, the women's division. Just something, whatever it is, titles, just something to kind of reignite it a bit, because again, they've got some amazing talent, amazing talent. You know, like Jade Cargill being added, and you don't know if anybody's going to come up from NXT. Like, just something to spark it, something to make it interesting. AJ Lee possibly, yeah. just yeah, I wish for that, because the men's seems to be okay at the moment with, you know, what's going on and the titles and who potentially are going to be the champions after WrestleMania. So yeah, just to get that women's division back up there and where it belongs, being strong again.
Cool. And Adam?
So again, another thing we've already spoken about, and it was going to be my wish, is splitting the tag titles. If you look at SmackDown, they've got the 2 young English tag teams, the 2 young Mexican tag teams. AOP have come back, Good Brothers have come back. You know, you can still have some kind of form of a Judgment Day tag team, or even 2 tag teams out of Judgment Day. You've got Street Profits there, for example. There's so many good tag teams, and then back on Raw, you've got the Creed Brothers that come up. You've got the kind of more experienced ones like Awesome Truth and DIY. Still got New Day in there. Again, I'm probably forgetting some with my apologies to them all, but there's so many talented tag teams. The guys with Jinder Mahal, I don't know, Shanky and the other guy, the big guys.
You got to think, who's the other one?
Oh, Imperium, of course. Yeah, Imperium, another great tag team.
The Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders, yeah.
Well,
I couldn't remember the other
right?
guy's name, but you've got to think they're going to cut. He's
Alpha
come back
Academy.
Literally,
you're in double figures for really talented tag teams.
Yeah.
You've got Judgment Day just kind of hogging both belts, if you know what I mean. Let's have 2 competing divisions, the Raw tag team division versus the SmackDown tag team division. You know, 2 hot divisions up against each other, as well as, you know, fighting in show, as it were. I think that'd be really exciting.
Wicked. And Jake, your wish?
We said it before we started, but either a massive pay-per-view in the UK, like either Mania, SummerSlam, like we had with Money in the Bank, like some sort of show, but even Royal Rumble for
Royal Rumble.
But just a big pay-per-view in the UK.
And Tony, last but not least.
Well, mine was already taken. I've said about the women's Intercontinental. I said I think they could do that this year.
Sorry, Tony.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I've got another one anyway, so it's fine. But I think they could do that. I think a women's Intercontinental title. I think there's so much talent. Like we said, Naomi, she was TNA champion. She's come back and now she's jobbing. No disrespect to anyone, but she's not getting an entrance. I just think maybe that. Also, maybe a 2-hour Raw instead of 3 hours. Maybe with the new Netflix deal, it may go to 2 hours, and I think then it will kind of allow a bit of breathing space, so we don't see like segments on Raw that we don't need to see. Like we don't need to see, although it's funny, but playing WWE, they don't need to do that. They don't need to play the game. They could cut that out, and then they could do something else. So I think a 2-hour Raw, maybe that would be a good shout.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, cut out the play in the WWE and give Naomi her entrance.
Give her exactly.
Exactly.
Like yeah.
So no, that's brilliant, guys. All that's left for me to say is thank you for coming on tonight, Jake. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
That's all right. Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Craig, thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you for having me.
That's okay. Pleasure. Like I say, we'll be on every week, Wednesday at 9. Obviously, this is a bit longer just because it's our first show. Probably we wanted to cram as much as we can in. If you're interested in joining the show, come in on the show, then the subs and channels are at the bottom, are rolling across the screen. I think all that's left for me to say is say your prayers, take your vitamins, and acknowledge your tribal chief. Good night.